Today, as we know, if you live here or have been here, you know that it's a home to a very diverse population of Indigenous and other peoples. Tiohtià:ke has always been known as a place where many different Indigenous nations have met to exchange culture and resources, and it continues to be that today. We respect this continued connections with the past and present, as well as our future and our ongoing relationships with Indigenous and other peoples within the Montreal community. Personally, recognizing the territory is important for me, especially when we discuss sustainability, because for me, the roots of our unsustainability, at the root of our unsustainability is a disconnection from our land and from the natural cycles of our planet. So these connections are essential to Indigenous people, and we can see that currently throughout Canada, there's resistance all over the place in the name of these natural cycles, from the Wet'suwet'en people in BC who are opposing destruction of their lands by the invasion of oil and gas, to the Mi'kmaq people on the East Coast who are fighting oppression for their right to sustainably harvest lobster, and the Algonquin people in Ontario and Quebec who are taking action on the moose population in their territories. And the list continues. So it's essential that we as settlers reconcile this relationship. And I think a really great way to do that is to first and foremost learn about the land that you're on and the Indigenous people who have been taking care of that land for time immemorial. In the chat, you'll notice that Anna has put a website to nativeland.ca, which is a really great project that has mapped out Indigenous land all over the world. So I encourage you to visit that website and learn more about the land that you're living on, or you have lived on, or you hope to live on. Learn a little bit more about the Indigenous peoples who occupy that land and what you might be able to do to take steps of reconciliation. And I think one main step in terms of reconciliation is learning. So I hope you can use that resource to the best of your ability. My name is Mark Underwood. As I said, currently I occupy the role of facilitator at the Sexual Assault Resource Center. So some of you might recognize me from doing your mandatory training on sexual violence awareness and prevention. And I thank you for your commitment to that really important topic. Before this role, I was heavily involved in the sustainability community. While I was studying in both my undergrad and now my master's, I was fortunate enough to work at both Sustainable Concordia and the Sustainability Action Fund. And over those many years, I had the pleasure of sitting on many, many, many committees in which we discussed definitely these action plans, but even before that, a sustainability policy which mandated these plans. And even before that, a lot of the action on sustainability has come from the student world. And I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the students who are have been and continue to work on sustainability. As students, we were able to bring a lot of crucial items to the table, like divestment and living labs and many other things that you're going to hear about today or read about in the policy. And it was a real pleasure to work alongside administrators and faculty who were willing to learn about these new concepts and these big systemic changes and translating them into a plan that makes sense for Concordia. So I'm really excited. I'm so proud of this work that we've done over the past, I think it's been 10 years, I think, in the making, technically. But I guess that's a different conversation. Today, we're here to talk about the sustainability action plans, which I think we're all really proud to show everyone and to talk about. So we're going to hear from some of Concordia's leaders. We have Dr. Graham Carr, the University President and Vice Chancellor, who's going to say a few words right after me. We also have Dr. Ann Whitelaw, our Provost and Vice President Academic, Dr. Paula Wood-Adams, our VP Research and Graduate Studies. We have Roger Cote, a mainstay in our sustainability movement, our outgoing VP Services. So glad you could be here for this moment, even though you're kind of on the way out. And then, of course, our incoming Vice President Services and Sustainability, which is a really exciting change, Michael Degrappa. We welcome you here. So we'll hear a few words from those folks. Then we'll hear from Cassandra Lamontagne, our Sustainability Coordinator. She'll speak more specifically about the plans. And then we have a really exciting Q&A with stream reps from each stream. As you know, if you've looked over the policies already, there's 5 streams. It's a huge plan. And there's been a lot of work with many, many different stakeholders to put these plans together. So we're going to hear from a representative from each one of those streams, and you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. And as Anna has mentioned, we encourage you to put your questions in the chat, or no, not in the chat. Questions in the Q&A box, but also feel free to engage with us in the chat. In the sustainability world, we know that our culture is one where we get together and we connect and we talk. If this were in person, this would be an amazing opportunity for us to connect with people we don't normally get to connect with, and tell people about our new and exciting ideas, or what we call friend raising. And we can't do that, but we still want to hear from you in the chat. I'm looking at it right now if you want to give words of encouragement or pride or whatever you might want to do. But yeah, make sure you put the questions in the Q&A box so that your question doesn't get lost in all of those other comments, and then we can make sure that we address them at the end. So without further ado, I think I have mentioned everything I'm supposed to mention on the front end. I introduce to you Dr. Graham Carr, University President and Vice Chancellor.
Thanks, Mark, and good afternoon, everybody. What a great turnout for this launch this afternoon, more than 250 people. I just want to echo a couple of things that Mark said. One is I like his comments about the importance of the territorial acknowledgement. And I see Donna's also reminding us that we need to think not just about the land, but the peoples who are part of Tiohtià:ke's history and Tiohtià:ke's present as well. I'm actually out at the Loyola campus today. So the other part of the university located on unceded Indigenous lands. And like Mark, I just feel enormous pride to be here today. And I want to, from the very outset, thank all of the students, the staff, the faculty, the administrators who've been working on developing this Sustainability Action Plan for many, many, many years. And for those people, it's been a labor of love, and we will all be the beneficiaries of their astuteness and of their passion and of their commitment. Of course, one of the many, many downsides of the current health emergency is that it stole the spotlight from some of the other major issues confronting the world, in particular the global emergency around climate change and environmental degradation. And at Concordia, I think we all agree that sustainability is far too crucial to be overshadowed, even by something as horrific as the global health crisis. We need to find solutions for both the health crisis and for the challenges facing the planet around climate change and the environment. And I think that at the university, our position, but more importantly, our actions on sustainability also have to really capture, reflect, and model the next generation ethos of which we're so proud. We recently joined the global effort to tackle social, environmental, and economic issues by committing to the decade of action leading toward the attainment of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And throughout the past many months, people have been working to finalize the text of this plan that is being unveiled today, and began the task of prioritizing and budgeting for its implementation. Now, the plan is dated 2020 to 2025, but let's be clear, we aren't starting now. We've already begun work on the recommendations that the 5 stream committees to which Mark alluded have brought forward. And I'm, as I've said at the outset, I'm just incredibly proud of how Concordians have been looking to bolster the resilience of our social and ecological systems, even during the challenges of the last few months. And the actions that the university community has pursued recently follow a series of pretty important steps that I think we've taken in the last few years. In 2018, we signed the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investment. And the following year, in 2019, we became the first in Canada and perhaps the first in North America to issue a sustainable bond, which has helped us to build the Applied Science Hub here on the Loyola campus. Last year as well, many of you will recall that our university foundation committed not only to ending investments in coal, oil, and gas within 5 years, but became the first university foundation in the country to commit to a portfolio of 100% sustainable investments by 2025, in addition to doubling its commitment to impact investing. In September of last year, Concordia joined a number of other universities in signing a joint letter declaring the climate emergency. And in December of 2019, became the first Canadian university to launch a sustainability investment practicum, a partnership between the John Molson School of Business and Manulife Investment Management. So we're actually training our own business students in sustainable investment practices. And this October the 1st, we, as Mark has already said, embedded sustainability into the leadership of the university by creating the position of Vice President Services and Sustainability. And today, of course, we are launching our first ever Sustainability Action Plan. It is an action plan. That also means it's a living plan. It's aspirational on the one hand, but it's also pragmatic on the other, with strategies, with benchmarks, and you'll hear more about that later, that are going to allow us to measure our progress.
This plan is about providing access to courses and to programs that give our students the interdisciplinary learning opportunities that they need to contribute to social, environmental, and economic sustainability solutions while they're studying at Concordia, and after graduation, how they can implement this knowledge in their chosen field. As we work to shape the curriculum of Concordia in ever more innovative ways, reflecting the changing needs of society, the changing demands of our students, of our faculty, of our researchers, our staff, this new plan truly complements and aligns with other important initiatives, such as decolonizing our curriculum and contributing to the global sustainable development goals. There's no hiding from our global sustainability crisis. We see that every day. Therefore, we must equip our graduates to rise to the challenges of building a world that is inclusive, sustainable, and just. And curriculum is a central component of that activity. But it's not the only one. So now I'm going to pass it over to Paula Wood-Adams to talk a little bit about the research implications of the plan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne. It's a real pleasure to be here today to put into words and eventually practice so much of what we have been cultivating at Concordia with respect to sustainability and research. There are so many sustainability-related research success stories that today I'm only going to reference a few. For example, last year we received $9.1 million from NSERC, the Natural Sciences Research Council and Engineering Research Council of Canada, for 49 research projects in natural sciences and engineering, including research investigating climate resilience, buildings, and biodiverse ecosystems. Also in 2019, Concordia received $6.3 million in funding from the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada to take on 88 collaborative projects whose themes include the exploration of land-based pedagogies for Indigenous youth. This June, Concordia partnered with the Global Sustainability Network Future Earth in receiving a $1.6 million grant from NSERC's Collaborative Research and Training Experience program to launch a scientific training program for students at the intersection of environmental science and digital innovation. And just yesterday, we became the home for an international research network called Sustainability in the Digital Age, which will be co-directed by Concordian Damon Matthews. As a public comprehensive research institution with a growing and talented community of researchers across 4 faculties, we need to ask ourselves what we are already contributing and how we can further contribute. Our recent commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals provides us with a very useful framework for thinking about our research impact across 17 crucial objectives, including a world without poverty, sustainable cities and communities, and climate action. Our vision for sustainability in research is to foster an institutional culture that will position Concordia as a world leader in sustainability research with meaningful impacts on society. To do this, we will put into practice the frameworks, resources, and dialogues needed to enable sustainability research across disciplines at Concordia and in partnership with communities. I look forward to the high quality, impactful research partnerships that will be nurtured as we move forward towards our shared vision. Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to pass the spotlight off to Roger Cote.
Thank you, Paula. Really happy to be here today, and as well to see Mark Underwood, who I believe has had an exemplary engagement at the university in sustainability as well. And I want to thank you, Mark, for being on the journey there with many of us, myself, my predecessors, and you exemplify as well the commitment and engagement of many students, generations of students, in fact, who have really helped nurture and grow the university's engagement on sustainability. So for that, I thank you, and I thank a number of students, many students, from which I've learned and enjoyed the journey to get us here today, launching this ambitious plan. So our speakers have all mentioned the Sustainability Development Goals as highly aligned with the Sustainability Action Plan. And our 3 operational streams are no exception. So the plan builds upon and extends the strong foundation we have built in our food systems, waste initiatives, as well as building and energy performance on campus. Through our food system plan, we'll strive to achieve a vision of Concordia as a global leader in sustainable food sourcing, with an enhanced capacity to grow and transform food on campus and the provision of healthy and affordable food to our community. Our vision for zero waste is to achieve a diversion of 90% of our waste away from landfill through compost, recycling, and material reuse. Even more ambitiously, we aspire to reduce the overall total weight of material waste by 50% per campus user, necessitating, of course, a significant shift towards low waste purchasing and internal reuse programs. So, of course, as we continue and like many universities, we aim to become a carbon neutral institution within 20 years to align Concordia's operation with scientific findings on the emission reductions needed to stay within the 1.5 degree of global warming. Uniquely, however, we will strive to completely eliminate all on-campus sources of greenhouse gas emissions through a shift towards all electric heating systems and vehicle, and we will do this over time. We realize that these are ambitious visions, but we are confident that by making bold choices and by tying into the research and curriculum portions of our plan, we can move towards these goals as a community. So back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Roger. Thanks for those kind words and for your incredible leadership and time working on sustainability at Concordia. I mean, among all of the other leaders here, this wouldn't have been able to happen without your hard work. So thank you for that. And with that, we'll pass the baton or the spotlight over to Michael Degrappa, our incoming Vice President, Services and Sustainability.
Thank you very much, Mark, and welcome everyone. And I just want to pick up on what you just mentioned, Mark. I really want to thank Roger before going any further. I want to thank him. Thank you, Roger, for your outstanding service and dedication and really true leadership in overseeing the development of this plan. As our speakers have articulated so well, this plan is an ambitious living document with 5 streams that were developed in tandem with each other because we recognize that in order to be successful, we cannot pursue this work in silos. So to that point, our new Sustainability Living Lab initiative will link the plan's goals, targets, and strategies with curriculum and research opportunities across Concordia. In partnership with the Sustainability Action Fund, we will provide funding for new initiatives to push forward our objectives. And although the visions you have all outlined are part of our long-term vision for 2040, the Sustainability Action Plan we're launching today includes detailed targets and strategies that we can pursue over the next 5 years to put us on track to achieve those visions. In that period, we will pursue a multi-pronged implementation approach that includes a funding plan, a fully revised Sustainability Governance Committee framework, and a detailed progress measurement and communication strategy. We will also encourage our community to support the plan by becoming Concordia Sustainability Ambassadors, something that Cassandra will talk more about shortly. And stepping into my new role as VP Services and Sustainability, I can say that I'm very proud of this plan. It is rooted in consultation with students, faculty members, and our service units. It is bold and it is timely. And so on that note, I look forward to working with you in implementing the Sustainability Action Plan over the next 5 years, together as a community of Concordians. Thank you very much. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Degrappa, for a nice view into the future. And I look forward to meeting you soon, I hope. Welcome to Concordia. We're all excited to have you here. And I agree with Anna Machete in the comments. She's mentioned inspiring with a happy face, and I also too feel inspired today. And to bring that inspiration home, we're going to hear from Cassandra Lamontagne, she's been our sustainability coordinator for quite a while, to tell us a little bit more about the plans and just to emotionally prepare. She's going to share her screen with you, so that's going to happen. Take it away, Cassandra.
Thank you so much, and for the preparation of the share screen, which can be a jarring transition for some people. So I will be sharing these slides. Everyone should now be able to see this presentation. If not, just let me know. And yeah, here we go. So here we are at the launch of our Sustainability Action Plan. And today I'll be giving you some context and history about how the plan came to be, before moving on and providing an overview of the plan and ending with some implementation pathways, specifically elaborating on some of the things that Michael has just told us about. And just a reminder here to input your questions into the Q&A. If you have any questions about the planning process or about the stream level plans that we're about to present to you. So we'll have each of our opening speakers as well as our stream committee representatives here to answer them during the Q&A. So don't forget, if you've got anything on your mind, to just put that in the Q&A or to interact in the chat with the others at the event. So here is the planning timeline, and you can see that.
Cassandra, to interrupt, if you're just not in full screen, if you want to full screen your presentation there.
Oh, can you see the rest of my screen, or is it just the presentation?
Just you're not in presentation mode yet.
Okay. So let me just figure that out. Just a moment. So here you should be able to see probably everything, right?
Yeah. So just down on the left-hand side there, there's the little icon. Yeah, click that.
Is this better?
No, that didn't work. I think the show must go on. No worries.
Okay, but you can't see anything.
We can
else?
see it. It's fine. You're just not in presenter mode, and it's totally okay. The show will go on.
Okay, great.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. But yeah, here we go. So our sustainability policy was developed over a period of a couple of years and adopted in 2016. And some of the commitments of that policy were to develop long-term sustainability plans in consultation with our community and to support the implementation of these plans with appropriate resources. So in 2017, my predecessor, Chantal Forgas, in her role as sustainability coordinator, worked to offer a community consultation specifically to identify which topics our community thought was important to include in the plans. And we ended with the topics of food waste, climate change, research curriculum, and diversity and accessibility. But it's important to note here that in 2018, the topic of diversity and accessibility was migrated over to the Provost's office as it was thought to deserve its own process. And with some of the announcements last week and in the last couple of weeks around an Office of Equity, an Office of Black Perspectives, and a new President's Task Force on anti-Black racism, we can see that this process has come full circle for that topic as well. So in 2018, multi-stakeholder committees were formed to draft recommendations around each stream topic over the period of a year. And on each committee, there was representation from student groups, from faculty members, from administration and staff. And the stream committee chairs were for food, Sabrina Lavoie in the Office of VP Services. For waste.
Sorry, Cassandra.
Yes.
I'm really sorry to interrupt again, but the slides aren't moving either. We're only seeing slide number 5.
Oh my goodness.
So you might actually be sharing the incorrect screen. So
Okay.
it might be helpful if you stop sharing and then restart.
I'll do that. Yes.
There we go.
Let me do that. I'm so sorry.
No worries, no worries. This is the world we live in now.
Unfortunately so. Okay, so what are we all seeing now?
Huzzah, there we go. This looks better.
Wonderful. I don't know what happened.
Oh, it's all good. Thank
But
you.
here we are in 2018 together, learning about the stream committee chairs. And I'm going to try to speak quickly because I really want us to have a chance to ask some of these people our questions. So for climate, we had Damon Matthews, a professor and Concordia Research Chair in Climate Science in the Department of Geography, Planning and Environment. For research, David Ward, a knowledge broker in the Office of Research. And for curriculum, Sandra Gabriel, the VP Innovation in Teaching and Learning in the Office of the Provost, as well as an Associate Professor in Communication Studies. So then in 2019, after our committees had drafted their recommendations, we were ready to share those with the community and to get their input. So we shared those publicly and with key units, and over 100 community members participated in those consultations, which the stream committees then worked to integrate into the plans so that the plans reflected the feedback we received. After which the university received the committee's recommendations, and it was time to figure out a bit of the implementation process for these. So we shared the plans with the units who would be implicated in the implementation of the strategies, and we assessed the capacity for implementation of the strategies as well as the resource implications. So based on the unit feedback that we received, and in combination with the original recommendations and the measure of importance that the original stream committees had put on the strategies, we were able to prioritize which strategies to keep into the plans or modify. And we developed an estimated 5-year budget. So I will now turn to giving an overview of each stream plan. As I've mentioned, each plan includes some long-term or 20-year visions, some 5-year targets and strategies, and I will focus on the 5-year targets and strategies as our leaders and guest speakers gave a pretty good idea of the key visions for each of the plans. So our food plan is designed to ensure that we increase the sustainability of our food offerings while also targeting food security and strengthening our urban agriculture programs. So this means that environmental and social sustainability will be factored into all tenders, all agreements, and all contracts regarding food at Concordia. So an example of sustainable food could be locally sourced food, it certified organic or sustainable food, or fair trade. Another key component is to recognize and reinforce the role of urban agriculture and its beneficial social impacts at Concordia, something that's becoming increasingly important in terms of food security. And then by increasing diversity in our food offerings, we mean to increase healthy, plant-based, allergen-free, and culturally inclusive food choices on campus, some of which can often be contradictory to each other. So we really want to target each of these and make sure that our food offerings are diverse and that they are appreciated by the entire community. And finally, the plan seeks to increase food security and reduce food waste on campus. So one of the major ways to do both of these at the same time is to implement a campus-wide food leftover donation program. Moving on now to waste on that point. Our waste plan is dedicated to maximizing the diversion of waste away from landfill through compost and recycling, and reducing our overall volume of waste generated at Concordia per campus user. So for this, reuse will be extremely important because it allows us to reach our diversion and reduction goals simultaneously. Procurement policies will also be very important in eliminating waste at the source. And the waste plan is designed to be a community-facing engagement program with maximized opportunity for community involvement through program-based work and research opportunities. An example of a project from the waste plan that could generate numerous research and curriculum opportunities is to pilot a waste sorting center at Concordia. And the climate plan addresses, of course, our greenhouse gas emissions from Concordia, from our buildings, commuting, our conference and research travel, business travel as well, and our investments. So for our buildings, we seek a gradual transition from natural gas to electric heating systems, and to supplement that with renewable natural gas to reach our targets in the interim, since our natural gas boilers will only be replaced at their end of life stage. Sustainable commuting will be supported by improving our infrastructure and programming around cycling and increasing our electric parking infrastructure. Emissions reductions from research and conference and business travel will be supported through incentivization of sustainable transport modes through our travel policy and through programs to encourage department level policies and projects. And finally, our investments from the Concordia University Foundation will be fully divested from the coal, oil, and gas industries, will shift towards a fully sustainable portfolio, and will increasingly be used for impact investing, which means investing in projects that have measurable social or environmental impact. Moving now to the academic portions of our plan, sustainability research is very interdisciplinary in nature. So a big part of the plan involves recommendations to develop a solid framework to support sustainability research across disciplines at Concordia. Also, if we want to increase the volume of sustainability research at Concordia, we need to increase incentives and support our researchers to take on this research. So that includes internal funding initiatives as well as new strategic hires. Sustainability research also doesn't count unless it's having a positive impact. So another portion of this plan focuses on leveraging our sustainability research to enrich local, national, and international communities. And finally, the research plan also recognizes that we need to decrease the environmental footprint of our research at Concordia. So strategies include equipment sharing programs for labs and ensuring that all research events are as sustainable as possible. Finally, last but not least, our sustainability in the curriculum plan, which addresses the need for Concordia to educate the next generation of sustainability leaders, regardless of the field that they enter once they graduate. So this plan is about providing access to courses and programs that give our students the interdisciplinary sustainability learning opportunities they need to contribute to sustainability solutions while studying at Concordia and after graduation. This can be achieved by supporting faculty to integrate sustainability content into new and existing courses, and to strategically target the creation of new sustainability courses and programs that will be accessible by a wide segment of our student population at the undergraduate and graduate levels. And so, looking forward to 2025 at these achievements, it's clear that a lot will have changed over these 5 years. Our buildings will produce 25% fewer emissions, which will put us on track to our vision to eliminate all of our emissions from buildings by 2040. A quarter of our courses will be related to social, ecological, or economic sustainability, 100% of our investments will be sustainable, and those are only a few of the changes lying ahead. To achieve these targets, as Michael said, Concordia will take this multi-pronged approach. So first, in the spirit of continued collaboration with our community, we will reassess our existing sustainability governance framework to ensure that the mandate, the structure, the membership of the committees, all involved, reflect the emerging sustainability landscape at Concordia and have the capacity to oversee the implementation of the plan over the next 5 years. Next, we'll commit funding to achieve what we've outlined in the plans. And in our first year, a significant portion of that budget will go towards assessing our baseline in cases where we don't already have the information. That'll be an important step in fine-tuning the implementation plans and the budget. And a good example of that is that we've never measured our emissions from research or business travel. So that's something that we need to do in order to know if our programs are effective over time. As Michael mentioned, the Sustainability Living Lab will be launched in January as a new matching fund partnership with the Sustainability Action Fund, which is a student fee levy group dedicated to funding sustainability projects on campus. So here we recognize that our community is innovative, they have a lot of ideas, and they will ultimately be our biggest strength in finding new pathways to achieve our goals and targets. So we will be making $80,000 available per year for new student, faculty, and staff projects, bringing Concordia closer to reaching our targets. Again, so that's a matching fund with the Sustainability Action Plan Fund, sorry. And there we have our Sustainability Ambassadors Program, which will also be a crucial piece in ensuring the dissemination and the uptake of a plan throughout our community. Specifically, our student sustainability ambassadors will be crucial in improving awareness and engagement around the key campaigns necessary to support our movement towards our goals and targets. And our staff and faculty ambassadors program will be there to integrate strategies into their own units and departments. They can launch departmental level campaigns and deliver the support and resources that we're preparing for each of the departments that are interested in participating. And finally, of course, we cannot hope to achieve our targets without rigorously measuring our progress frequently and ensuring that we transparently update our entire community regularly. And on that note, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for attending this event and participating. Hopefully you have lots of questions for our speakers and for our stream committee representatives here with us today. If you'd like to get in touch about the plan, you can always reach out to me at my email address here. And I will send that back over to you, Mark, on that note.
Thank you, Cassandra. I know it was probably hard to keep that presentation so short because there's a lot happening in this plan, but nonetheless, I think you did a great job capturing the really important bits. And in true sustainability fashion, we are running behind. So we're going to do our best to answer as many questions as we can, but we obviously won't have time to get to all of them. And I think we will go to panelist view now so that you can see the 5 reps who are here to talk about the plans. I'm not sure if everyone is seeing the grid view. Okay, I'm just going to go with it. So for the waste stream, as I say who you are, maybe you can just wave at the screen and say hello to the crowd. For the waste stream, we have Faisal Shanib, our environmental specialist in facilities management. For the climate stream, we have Amr Adas. He's an adjunct professor in the Department of Finance and a faculty member of the John Molson Executive Center, or JMEC, JMEC. For the food stream, we have Claudette Torbay, the administrator for food services, sustainability and quality in hospitality. And for research, we have Pedro Perez Neto. He's a professor in the biology department. And for curriculum, we have Sandra Gabriel, our vice provost for innovation in teaching and learning and associate professor in communication studies. So thank you everyone for being here. So I'm just going to dive in. We have 14 questions, and I'm happy to see that they cover a wide range. And so I'm going to jump on one from Sheila McNally, talking about waste. I'm a studio art student. We generate a lot of waste. Will there be specific plans developed for faculties who create a lot of waste? I think fine arts needs some targeted help. And I think Faisal's probably the best to answer that one.
That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked it because we have a very specific answer for that. So we have a team within what we call Zero Waste Concordia, a team that works in property management and facilities management. And one of our key projects initiatives is the Center for Creative Reuse. It's a space that collects materials from around campus that normally you wouldn't be able to compost, recycle, et cetera. It's kind of the et cetera material that we have. It can be anything from wood scraps to plastic materials. You probably have heard of it. If not, definitely look into it. Well, they've been working in consultation with other members of fine arts, and they kind of have a fine arts background, our staff who work on that project, to develop an educational plan specifically to fine arts. And so it kind of involves a series of workshops and kind of a collection of practices specific to different fields in fine arts. So depending on whether you're in sculpture or drawing or whatever, like you're going to have different materials generated and you're going to need different approaches. And we recognize that there's a big diversity of materials. So there will be targeted education outreach towards fine arts. In the plan, it also mentions that we're going to be encouraging different sectors, departments, faculties, et cetera, to develop their own zero waste policies. So we really want to encourage groups to reflect. We can consult with them to develop auditing procedures and measurements to kind of see where they are, a snapshot, and then develop a plan from there or a policy depending on what makes the most sense. So that is part of the plan.
Great. Thank you, Faisal. Something else I see here, which is popular, is the Sustainability Living Labs. There's a few questions about how students can get involved, and then one specifically asking to talk more about the Living Labs. So I think that might be a good question to tackle. Who would like to tackle? Sandra, would that be in your wheelhouse, or someone else on the panel?
I can speak to the ways in which we're planning on doing it in the in the curriculum plan, which was to try and create some other kinds of opportunities that are specifically experiential learning oriented and not necessarily within the 4 credited space of the curriculum. So we know our Concordia students are terrific citizens, and they're terrific in, they are always looking for new opportunities to engage in different kinds of learning experiences. And so we're very keen to not just focus on what happens within the credited space of the formal classroom, if you will, or in the research spaces, but also think about those informal opportunities where learning happens by taking up projects and recognizing ways in which students can extend their learning into those kinds of opportunities. So that we have a specific commitment to creating experiential learning opportunities vis-a-vis the lab. But the lab really kind of cuts across all of the streams in important ways. So I don't know if any of the other members here want to address that, but for sure, we're quite excited. In fact, I have like more ideas than we could possibly probably launch around that, because there's lots of people who are quite eager to contribute in that area.
Amazing, thanks, Sandra. Cassandra, do you feel comfortable talking about the Living Labs? If I can also say a few words, but yeah, go for it.
Sure. So just in the context of the partnership with staff, we're going to be basically offering a number of funds every year for new projects that address the goals and targets of the plan. And so we will be promoting that heavily starting, I guess, over the next couple of months, and then launching it in January. So the first projects can come in January. We're going to have a number of ideas for people already that if they want to tackle those, they are more than welcome. Or if they have their own ideas on how best to contribute, then those can be projects as well. And we're looking to have the projects have several key aspects, including partnerships. So we want groups submitting applications to have multi-stakeholder groups, so either a mixture of students and staff or students and faculty, needs to include students somehow, because we need there to be also some experiential learning components, something that students can tie into their learning somehow. And it's also very important for us that we create the connections necessary to have our own researchers contribute to the plan goals and targets over time. And that can mean offering the campus as a way for them to test solutions to sustainability problems that will help us in our own efforts as well. So that for me kind of sums it up. But if anyone has more specific questions, they can get in touch with me at my email address.
Yeah, I remember those discussions about scope 3 emissions and just being like, what is happening? What are we talking about? And I'm glad you addressed Susan's question about commuting. I know we're all thinking about, I mean, there are a lot of questions about the COVID realities right now. So thanks for Cassandra, is there anything you'd like to add there? I know you're the coordinator for the climate stream.
Yes, briefly, we do record them approximately every 3 to 4 years. We make them publicly available on our website, so I'll link to that in the chat. And we're going to be recording them more frequently now that the plan is out. And as Amir was mentioning, those 3 different scopes, we currently don't measure all of our scope 3 emissions. So again, an example of that is our research travel. So we will be both recording our emissions, but also increasing the types of emissions that we measure over time.
Great. Okay, we have 2 minutes left, and I know we have to wrap up, and there's so many great questions here. I see one for research. Maurizio is asking, as a fine arts staff, how can I get involved in research on sustainability? Paul, I'm wondering, you might be able to speak specifically to fine arts, but also if you might just say a few words about how faculty can get involved in sustainability research.
Absolutely. So I think the first thing to do is to look around you and find out about what different faculty members and graduate students are doing in your areas. In terms of faculty members, you can use Explore Concordia. That's our online tool for locating faculty members doing different kind of research. If you just put sustainability in there as a keyword, you'll find professors whose research is focused on sustainability. And the best thing to do is to simply contact these professors or their graduate students and say that you would love to get involved. I'm sure there's many different ways that people, including staff and undergraduate students as well, can get involved in these projects. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it. And I know that in fine arts in particular, there are several, more than several researchers who are looking at sustainability. So I'm sure you'll be able to find somebody to collaborate with.
Yeah, great. And I mean, that's the beauty of research, right? You find something you're passionate about and you research it and you present it to the world. So not only finding people on Explore Concordia, but look at the plans and see what do you think your research can do for these plans, and can it relate to the Living Lab project? Can you get seed funding there? I think that's a great advice. Thanks, Paula. Claudette, I'm sorry I didn't have a question for you, and we're like running out of time. I'm so sorry. We're trying to figure out a creative way of answering all of these questions. I see 21 here. They've been coming in faster than we can address them. And so whether that's through social media or one-on-one, however that will happen, we are going to be taking these questions and we'll find a way to answer them for the community because they are really great questions. But I apologize to you all that we can't get to them all. I think we could probably spend another hour just answering questions alone, but we won't do that. And Pedro, also, I didn't get a chance to pose a question to you, and I'm sorry for that. So thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Before moving on, I just want to say we're also hoping to plan stream specific events where we're going to have numerous panelists from every stream committee available to really delve into the nitty-gritty of each of those topics. So it is unfortunate, these questions are amazing, but hopefully we're going to be able to offer that series of events also.
Yes, great point. Awesome. Okay. thank you so much. You've heard about how to get involved. You can email Cassandra directly to talk about the Living Labs or get in touch with the Sustainability Action Fund. I saw Sebastian Dupuy in the chat, so I know he's here. He's the current executive director there. You can also get in touch with our Sustainability Ambassador program to talk about how you can volunteer for that program and get involved. And also just take a look at these future stream events and everything else that's going on for sustainability, and find a way to jump in. You know, that's how you get involved best. Just find something you're passionate about and give it your all. So thank you everyone for being here, and nice to see you. I saw a lot of you in the participant list.
And thank you, Mark. Thank you all panelists and attendees alike for your time today, for sharing your thoughts, your questions. We will definitely find a way to address all of them. And thanks for your patience as we navigated some technical hiccups today. Mark Underwood, a special thank you for your stellar moderation. Wow, well done. Before you leave, before everybody's checking out now, but if you have an extra 30 seconds, I've put a quick 30-second to 1 minute survey in the chat. We'd love to hear some feedback for today's event that we could share with the organizers. So I'll paste it in again. And a reminding that a recording of today's presentation will be available on our website, which is concordia.ca/4 in the coming days. So on that note, I'm going to wish everybody a very happy afternoon, and we hope to see you all again here soon in our virtual channels. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Wow.
How do I get out?